let's go over what is probably the worst incident of journalistic malfeasance in the history of sports journalism ever since the beginning of time. I'm, of course, kind of mocking their tone with respect to their analysis of this play here. And if you follow football, you know this play. If you don't, I'll explain how absurd and ridiculous it was, and why am I talking about it in emotional tones so many years after the fact? Because what the FUCK has happened to this country this century. We make decisions based on emotion. We think we know everything. And then when facts come in contrary to the decision we rushed into prematurely, we do not adjust. And I see this over and over again. And rarely do you have a case where it's so obvious as this. So, anyway, this is the end of the Patriots Seattle Super Bowl. And this team on the left, Seattle, has moved the football down here. They're down by 4 points. They got to get into this, which is called the end zone. They have 4 tries and they have 1 minute and 6 seconds left. So they don't have much time, and they have 4 attempts. Attempt number one. There we go. Attempt number one goes to number 24, Marshawn Lynch, who gets down to the goal line. He was considered to be arguably the best running back of that time. I think he's still active. Very good running back. Now you got 3 more chances, and we're going to see. So you got 3 more chances to go. Time's running down. Do you want to run the ball or pass the ball from here? If you want to get 4 full chances, you're going to have to throw the ball at one of those downs, which we see they did there. The Patriots picked it off, made a very good play, maintained possession, and won the game. And the idiot media said that's the worst play call of all time. There's no justification, statistically, logically, or otherwise, for saying that's anything other than a pretty good call, okay? And there's so many things that were stated in frothing of the mouth emotional terms that were utterly wrong. Starting with, you don't ever pass in that situation. This was an article in Sports Illustrated made shortly after that. It was pretty good, but the mob screaming about this was so loud that they had to basically toe the line, shall I say. Anyway, that year, teams ran in 129 touchdowns on 226 attempts, 57.1% average, and threw 66 touchdowns on 115 attempts. So passing is a little tiny bit more likely to score than running. But you might say, well, that guy was a great running back, so clearly they should have gone with the great running back. Except he wasn't very good from the goal line. And in this YouTube clip, you can hear them frothing at the mouth and screaming about what a horrible play call that was, while they're showing that slide in the background. What's going through a human being's head when their emotions are so at odds with reality? We see that this guy had a 44.8% chance of scoring from the goal line, which is one of the lower percentages in the league. Now, he was a great player and is a great player. That being said, he's 5'11 and 215, which is dead on average for size in the NFL. And his play style, he's fast, he's shifty, he can change directions, he has very strong arms, and he can generally push people away when he's running midfield or in the open. And he can often push people away and build up a head of steam, run over another guy, push another guy away. They used to call it beast mode. That's one ball of wax. Down at the goal line where you've got 1 yard to go, you don't have time to build up a head of steam, and you basically have to try to push a 300-pound guy back. Someone 5'11 and 215 is just never going to be that good at it, period. So nothing against Marchand is a great player, but in that precise situation, he just wasn't very good. So the idea that he's borderline unstoppable at the goal line is false on its face, and we see that right here. Okay. And then the passing, you never do that, etc., etc. Another stat on passing. Running was done 71% of the time at the goal line, within 1 yard line. Passing 29%. Now, that means that in the first two attempts, all right, down number one, down number two, you have a 58% chance of seeing a pass. So that means if you've run on first down, you have a 58% chance of seeing a pass on second down. Now, for your stats gurus out there, you could find a curveball, but however, let me just reiterate, that's your chances. I shouldn't have even put that in there. That's your chances of seeing a pass on either first or second down. More than half. More than half. But the logic of that play call gets even better because there's a thing called game theory. And game theory requires a little bit of thought. And this is what worries me about America. Things like game theory, that kind of thought process requires a little bit of thought. And if you're whipped up emotionally, you can't think. And while this country is whipped up emotionally, we can't think. All right? That's a bad place to be. So without further ado, I'm going to slow down, explain this good. So when they're on second down, right? They've run the ball on first down, and if you want to have 4 full chances, which is kind of important, rather than 3, 4 is better than 3. So in order to get 4 full chances, they're going to have to throw the ball on one of these downs. And if they were to run the ball on second down, okay, which was the down where they threw, then they're going to have to more or less have to throw the ball on the third down, or they're going to run out of time, okay? And so on the second down, there has to be question in the mind of the Patriots as to what they're going to do, right? They might run, they might pass. We don't know what they're going to do. But if they run the ball on second down, and Marshawn Lynch or whoever was to get stopped, and there's a 44.8% chance, there's a 55.2% chance that he's going to be stopped. That's more than half, people, more than half. And if that happens on third down, the Patriots on third down will have strong confidence that Seattle's going to pass, okay? And they'll prepare for the pass. And one of the most important things in sports and competition is keeping the other side uncertain and in the dark as to what you're doing, okay? So therefore, by throwing on second down, they kept uncertainty alive. So the more you think about this, the more you see that there is no justification for calling this a bad play whatsoever. Period. End of story. The Patriot side made a great play, and that's that. There is no statistical or logical basis on which to say that was a bad play. And if I'm getting hyper about it, it's because I see this kind of stuff all the time in this country. Something has gone wrong with this country in this century. You can feel it, and I can feel it. And one of the aspects of what's gone wrong is the emotionalism out there. And we think we know it all. And we rush to judgment, and we think we know it all. And then if facts come out that challenge our decision that we made in haste based on emotion before the facts came in, we don't adjust. That's a bad thing. It's a bad, bad habit. And it worries me. So that's why I'm making this tape.